Well, I think it's gone through different phases, right? If we go back to, that was so great that you brought up the Yale years, because that was a really interesting time. That was when I first felt that you could experiment, but I always felt more on this, you know, if there's a spectrum. I mean, I love sex. I'm very open, I think, sexually, and I feel very lucky I don't have any molestation or anything like that in my background, because I think that's like, oy, at least I don't have that. Speaking of Dickensian. But I always fell more on the spectrum toward heterosexual. But if there was an openness, and there was, for me, I lost my mother to suicide when I was 14 years old. And having had a rupture with her from the get-go because of her issues, I think that there's no question that this mother-daughter yearning and unfulfilled relationship played into the dynamic with other women. And that's not the case for everyone. I became involved with this woman, and I believe that one of the aspects of it that was so different texturally was that I was learning to love myself as a woman in being open to a woman. And that goes back to all this cultural stuff we're talking about, and women having this cultural double bind. I also fell in love with the woman, with a person, but there was no question that that added another texture and dimension that was incredibly powerful. It was like coming to terms with being a woman and celebrating that. Certainly, after this experience, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not saying that everyone would want it or could deal with it, but there was an openness that was absolutely a gift of recovery. And I had 2.5 years of celibacy, not intentional before that. I've been about almost 4 years sober from, you know, again, it's tricky when you're not stopping relating to other people. So it's not as clear cut as, I haven't had a cigarette since, I haven't had a glass of wine, but I have not felt that buzzy thing in the same way. And I make different choices. But I needed 2.5 years, who knew, of pretty much like staying, because the sex really triggers me. I felt like I need 2.5 years just a detox. And it's also about patterns. A lot of people make the mistakes that I made in their 20s, but they don't keep making them. So I didn't figure out that I was actually addicted to this until I was in my 40s and had to face, whoa, you were, what happened to having a child? Where have all these decades gone? And that kind of brought it to the fore.